Bernardo felt a little sick. Ever since Zenobia had taken the stone from him, he'd felt an ache that wouldn't go away. He missed it. He wanted it back. He needed it back. Why hadn't he killed her when he had the chance? She was the enemy. He hadn't even seen her in 14 years. Why had he hesitated? You're a sucker for an empowered woman. Bernardo kicked himself. Don't make that mistake again. A very clever engineer named Elon Muskrat had got his start making floating platforms. Not many people knew that.
I mean.
Zenobia thought the stone was evil. Was it? He longed to have it back. He'd felt so good killing ravens with it. And yet, he'd felt unclean ever since he'd touched it. She confused him. She'd made him want to be a better fox. And then she'd abandoned him, never telling him she was the Emperor's daughter. Never contacting him since. Well, who was she to tell him the stone was evil? And while he was trying to recover the stone Zenobia had taken from him, the Imperial fleet was tightening its grip. He might fail to save the rebellion, and it would all be her fault. Bernardo felt a burst of outrage. Not only had she stolen his gem, she'd also stolen his scientists. Sure, they were neutral, but they had helped him discover what the Emperor was up to. They were supposed to be helping me, Bernardo thought. So unfair. Energy spheres. Easy to dodge, but boy do they sting if you didn't pay attention. The scientist's toes were pointing arcane instruments at the stone and looking at it through prisms and reflections. "Mine," said Reynardo as he took back the stone. "We need it for science," croaked the toads. So he killed them. He felt better immediately. Smarter, too. "I thought you'd never come for me," whispered the stone. Then, a far-speaker toad croaked in something like Zenobia's voice.
"Reynardo, leave the stone with the toads. It will swallow your soul. You'll kill everyone you love."
But Reynardo had an army to lead, an empire to bring down.
"I know you can fight this thing.
Zenobia continued in the far-speaker's croak.
You let me live. You know how evil it is. You will destroy..."
As the Farfarer landed at the foot of the mountains, Bernardo was surprised to find Lapino there. "What are you doing here?"
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I was stowed away on an Imperial courier ship.
Reynardo wondered who was leaving chests of sword-crafting supplies around. He wanted to thank him. Bernardo told his friend how he had slaughtered the toads and how he had nearly slain Zenobia. There was an inscription, "No spitting."
The traitors! Record the ravens.
Renato was remembering all his old tricks, and some new ones. Now, he really ought to ask for a raise. When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous. What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship. Renato thought it would make a difference, snatching the Iblastone before the Emperor could get it. And it would destroy him. Zenobia and Lupino, they were both trying to save him. Yes, that was what he needed. So much for peace and quiet. There was Lupino. Again.
You're stronger than some dumb rock,
Lupino said.
Let's just bury it, and no one will ever find it again.
Renato could feel the spirit energy of all those dead ravens inside him, pecking away. The rabbit was right. Even if the rabbit was a traitor, he was still right. He tore the Iblastone from his gauntlet and threw it into the hole Lupino had dug. Stone was silent, probably sulking.
Now whoop those Imperials,
Said Lupino.
Are you coming? Ah, no, I can't come with you. It's my old injury, you know. Recently, it's been acting up terrible. I'd be no use to you at all.
So Renato boarded the Farfarer alone. Renato felt lonely on board the Farfarer. How could his old friend Lupino, miraculously escaped from the Empire, leave him to face the final battle alone? Well, he'd abandoned Lupino before, hadn't he? It was only fair. And of course he felt lonely. He'd given up the Iblastone and all the souls he feted. Of course he felt alone. But he had done the right thing. It had been hard to do, but there was no better feeling than that. Zenobia would be so proud of him. The battle, alas, was not going well.
He no longer had the stone, and he'd never gotten the core. Lapino wasn't with him, and he was up against Zenobia, out there somewhere, maneuvering the Emperor's forces. The rebels had been outnumbered from the start, and he still had that aching longing for the stone. But that is what it means to be a hero. He would fight his way to Zenobia. He would show her what he was capable of. Just him, with no diabolic accoutrements. He would win, no matter the odds. Renato wondered if his future self had commissioned these poles.
Of all the artisans he was creating employment for. Truly, he was a job creator. Yours, said Renato, but he couldn't hear his enemy's answer. To everything, there is a season. He turned over and died. Renato. Yes, that was it. Pirouette, slash, parry, dodge. Renato had never done such good work in a fight. He wished the poets were along to sing of his exploits for his old age. Maybe he wouldn't have to kill Zenobia. Maybe he could defeat her and take her prisoner. Then he could turn the tide against the Emperor. If she wasn't Crown Princess, once this was all over, she'd have more time for him, right? Renato could feel his wounds closing. It was weird. There was an inscription on the platform. Balalaika lessons with an address.
By some miracle, Renato fought his way to the Emperor's ship. He was exhausted, bleeding, but he'd found the strength to reject the stone. Zenobia came out of the ship. "Renato!" she shouted, and then she fell down and died. Lapino was behind her, wielding a sword that seemed to suck all the light out of the sun. "You idiot! You threw the stone away!" cried Lapino. "You said it was evil." "It hates sanctimonious prigs like you," laughed Lapino. "And we're having a grand old time." Renato turned and ran. But no matter where he ran, Lapino jumped in front of him until Renato was cornered. "That boy could hop. You wouldn't do this to an old friend, would you?" cried Renato. "You mean this?" said Lapino as he slid the sword into Renato's guts. "Damn it! Again?" And just like that, he was alive again, and back on the Farfarer, still fleeing burning Ubar. The book was still open before him. So, the book was a portal. It took you to the future, when your destinies would branch. He had failed and died 3 times, and he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome. But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the Path of Destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of emptied